There are any number of different stories involving Joe Biden, who you're seeing right beside me, that I would love to be talking about the show today. Maybe even leading off the show as we are. It could be some sort of executive order or action that shows that he's not going to let the filibuster stop him from achieving his goals. He's going to fulfill his promises and make good on blah, blah, blah. Or maybe it would be actually pressuring those who are upholding the filibuster in whatever way, even if it's futile, showing that he cares. But we don't have that, and don't really have him doing anything. He doesn't seem to be up to much today or this week, probably this month, maybe this term. So what do we have for you? Well, all we're left with in this hellscape that should be a democracy is this.
Do you think it places a political liability?
That's a great asset. More inflation. What a stupid son of a bitch.
That's what we've got. Joe Biden caught on a hot mic calling it's Peter Doocy, right? Steve Doocy's son, a dumb son of a bitch, which, we can get into the merits of that classification, Nina, but this is the big story domestically in politics today, probably for a solid day, maybe two. Joe Biden swore to a reporter. What do you think?
Well, as someone who uses a little colorful language myself every now and then, hey, the president and I agree on using colorful language when the need arises. As you know, John, I've used some colorful language in the public square myself. So for all the haters out there that always like to remind me of that colorful language, I'm just gonna play this. I'm just gonna roll this clip, John. So for me, this is beautiful. This is a thing of beauty.
Yeah. Look, it probably wouldn't even, like, on any average like Cenk Uygur rant, it's not even gonna be one of the top 5 worst things he calls somebody involved in politics, and rightfully so. That said, Joe Biden is a little bit different than Nina Turner, Cenk Uygur. I mean, he's in DC, he's supposed to be very responsible, and there's decorum and all that. And so he called him dumb son of a bitch, and that means that now, in the absence of all that stuff I alluded to in the beginning, because after all, I can't give you an update on him canceling student loan debt because he's just not doing it. I can't give you an update on much of anything substantive. Now, the media apparatus, like, can you imagine how happy they are at the news cycle that they just got? Because conservatives can be very aggrieved about this. I mean, how dare he? It's personal and it's profane and it's an attack on the press. They can pretend that they care about politicians attacking the press. And on the other side, they can defend Biden. Yeah, he's being folksy, he's being a regular person. He's saying something maybe I wanna have a beer with him, and none of any of that. And look, some of it might be interesting, we'll engage in a little bit of it. None of it has anything to do with anything that will actually affect anybody's life. So it's entertaining or whatever, but it's a little bit depressing that another day of news that could have been, that was ripe with possibility, will effectively become the Masked Singer for a day.
Well, John, what's profane, and I definitely agree with you, is the condition by which the poor, the working poor, and the barely middle class have to endure in this country right now. That's profane. I mean, the child tax credits have expired. How about we talk about that? We got 2 Democratic senators that said, nope, not going to cooperate. Let the filibuster run wild, baby, and hold up any opportunities to expand and protect access to the ballot box. I mean, John, you and I can really think of some really profane things happening in this country right now that will not be dealt with. And you know what else is profane, John? Also, the pretending, the facade that that is in Washington, that people are going to be prim and proper. They're not. So I think for me on the other side of this, he called it as he was thinking it in his mind, but we always pick and choose who is acceptable to say something like that, because you're right, it'll be called folksy and down, I wanna be down and all of that good stuff by one side, and then there'll be pearl clutching on the other side. I just want folks to remember that when Sister Turner used some colorful language, don't come at me with it, because I'm just gonna roll that. I'm making this all about me right now. Don't come at me with that, because I'm just gonna roll this tape.
Exactly. And I agree with you that they decide who gets to be profane, definitely.
Yeah.
But also, like, and this may be a little bit less explicit, who you can be profane about. Biden, he can say that about Doocy, because who cares about Doocy? I don't think Doocy cares about Doocy. Nobody cares about that. He's not saying that about Manchin. He's not saying that about Cinema. He's not saying that about people who you're not supposed to denigrate. You're supposed to wine and dine them, bring them over, have lunch with them, try to court them. And yet, if there's anybody that he should be using that language about, it's the people who are like single or double-handedly annihilating his entire agenda. Let's get a dumb son of a bitch targeting Joe Manchin. How about that?
John, oh my God, you really hit on something there. Who you can say that kind of thing about. When I made a statement about the neoliberalism compared to neo-fascism, it was like, oh my God, that Nina Turner, off with her head, she's banished. So you are absolutely right. You hit the sore spot right there, John. But it is true. It depends on what the media, the elites in the United States of America, the elites that run the system, they determine who's worthy of being called, names and who is not. So your point is absolutely well taken. I mean, John, you have some people tell the story. That was the worst thing I could have done in life.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
You know what I'm talking about. Yeah.
Like people heard you say that and they are still just in their shower on the ground, water raining down on them, sobbing because they can't get past the things you said. And that's what you did to them, Nina Turner.
That's what I did. Yeah.
That's what you did.
For more political news breakdowns, interviews, stories of activism, and me trying my hardest to care about the occasional big celebrity news story, subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/The Damage Report. And you can ring the bell wherever it is so you don't miss anything.